Chosen one. The final trial is complete. What broke other people did not break you. What drove others to rage, to bitterness, to collapse? You carried it in silence. You kept your mouth shut when everything inside you was screaming to speak. You were judged by people who never knew the full story. You were misread by people who never deserved your explanation. And you said nothing. You didn't expose what you could have exposed. You didn't send the message you had every right to send. You didn't defend yourself to the people who decided your verdict before the trial even began. And in the quiet, in that long, heavy, exhausting quiet, you wondered something that you've never said out loud. Does God think my silence was weakness? I need you to hear this right now, before anything else. The silence was not empty. It was evidence. Every morning you woke up with that weight pressing on your chest. That wasn't defeat. That was the furnace doing what furnaces do. Gold doesn't scream while it's being purified. It simply endures. You were that gold. Before this message ends, you will understand exactly why the pressure got heavier right before heaven moved. There is a reason your body, your spirit, and your emotions all collapsed at the same time. That was not coincidence. That was timing. Heaven's courtroom had been quiet, not because the judge was absent, but because the evidence was still being gathered. And now, right now, the gavel has come down. If this message found you at the exact moment you needed it, type in the comments, "I stayed quiet, but God heard me." Because somebody needs to know they are not alone in this waiting room. Somebody needs to know that the silence they survived was the very thing that qualified them for what comes next. The silence did not mean God was absent. It meant the evidence was still being gathered. Because the truth is, the final trial was never what you thought it was. Chosen one, stay with me. Because what looked like delay was actually the final measurement of your capacity. Now I need to tell you something that most people never get told. Something that changes everything about how you see what you just walked through. The final trial was not the betrayal. It was not the rejection. It was not the silence from heaven. It was not the attack, the loss, the closed door, or the person who walked away without ever looking back. Those were the circumstances of the trial, but they were never the trial itself. The real trial was happening somewhere much deeper, somewhere no one could see, somewhere even you couldn't fully name while you were inside it. The real trial was this: would you surrender the right to be your own judge? Think about that for a moment, because that is one of the hardest things a human being can ever be asked to do. Not just to forgive, not just to be patient, but to actually lay down the gavel, to stop demanding that justice arrive on your schedule, to stop measuring God by how quickly He moved. You've been carrying other people's families for decades. You have been the bigger person so many times that you've forgotten what it feels like to just be a person. You have swallowed words that deserved to be spoken. You have absorbed pain that was never yours to carry. And somewhere along the way, you started wondering, is God keeping score? Or am I the only one paying the price for doing things right? That question right there, that is where the trial lived. Joseph sat in an Egyptian prison for years, not days, years, and scripture never records him screaming at the ceiling, demanding an explanation. What it records is that the Lord was with him, not above him watching from a distance. With him, inside the silence, inside the cell, inside the waiting. Joseph didn't know that the prison was positioning him for the palace. He couldn't see the blueprint. All he could see were 4 walls and a forgotten promise. And yet he did not become bitter. He did not let the wound turn into a weapon. That was the trial. Not the pit, not the prison, the posture. David had Saul cornered in a cave. His own men were whispering, "God has delivered your enemy into your hands." He could have ended it right there. Every soldier around him was ready. Every argument justified it. And David walked away. Not because he was weak, because he understood something that most people never learn, that the ability to strike and choose not to is the purest form of authority that exists. Job lost everything: his children, his health, his wealth, his reputation. And the scripture tells us that heaven had been watching from the beginning, that Job's suffering was not random. It was observed. It was being measured. Heaven was asking a question that Job didn't even know was being asked. Will he curse God when there is nothing left to hold on to? And here is what most people never understand. Heaven does not respond first to your pain. It responds to what your pain produces. Let that land. God is not unmoved by your suffering. He sees every tear. He records every sleepless night. But what heaven is watching, what heaven is measuring, is what happens inside your character when the pain refuses to leave. Are you being enlarged, or are you being hardened? Are you becoming more merciful or more bitter? Are you learning to trust, or are you slowly replacing faith with control? Because a vessel that has not been tested cannot be trusted with oil. You don't hand someone a full cup if their hands are still shaking from the last time they dropped it. You wait. You observe. You let the weight build until you know the capacity is real. That is exactly what was happening to you. The pressure wasn't punishment. It was a weight room. Every heavy moment was not God crushing you. It was God expanding you, building load-bearing capacity in your spirit for something you haven't been handed yet. Jesus stood before Pilate, the Son of God, the Word made flesh, the one who spoke galaxies into existence with a single breath. And he opened not his mouth, not because he had nothing to say, but because he understood that the assignment required silence more than it required defense. Isaiah 53:7. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. If the Son of God could stand under false accusation and remain still, what does that tell you about the nature of your own silence? It tells you that your restraint was not weakness. It tells you that your endurance was not invisible. It tells you that heaven was not asleep. You were not being ignored, chosen one. You were being weighed. And the weight confirmed something about you that no announcement could have proven, no promotion could have revealed, no applause could have established. Only the fire could show it. Only the silence could surface it. Only the trial could certify it. You are the kind of soul that can be trusted with power because you did not abuse it when you had every reason to. And if you were being weighed, then what exactly was heaven measuring? Can I be honest with you for a moment? Not preacher to congregation honest. I mean one human soul to another, late at night, when the masks come off and the real weight shows itself. Because somewhere in the last season of your life, something happened that nobody around you fully understood. You didn't just go through a hard time. You carried something invisible, something that pressed down on your chest like a stone at 3 in the morning when the house was quiet and sleep wouldn't come. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That heaviness that had no name, that exhaustion that rest couldn't fix. You'd wake up tired, you'd go to bed tired, and in between, you'd smile for the people around you because you were the strong one. You were always the strong one, and strong ones don't get to fall apart. Strong ones don't get to say, I don't know how much longer I can carry this. But behind closed doors, chosen one, that's exactly what you felt. Your heart was carrying a responsibility your mouth couldn't explain. You weren't just hurt, you were weighted. There's a difference between pain and weight. Pain screams. Weight just presses, quietly, consistently, day after day after day. And you wondered, God, is something wrong with me? Let me answer that question right now with the full authority of Scripture and 50 years of watching God move in human lives. Nothing was wrong with you. Everything was happening to you. The Bible says in Romans 8:22, the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth. Paul didn't say creation was dying. He said it was laboring. There is a difference between a groan that signals the end and a groan that signals the arrival. You were not groaning toward collapse. You were groaning toward delivery. Think about what happens right before a child is born. The pressure doesn't ease up. It intensifies. The contractions don't get softer. They get stronger, closer together, more overwhelming, right up until the moment new life breaks through. Any mother in this audience knows exactly what I'm describing. The hardest moment is always the one right before breakthrough, and that is precisely where you have been. That chest heaviness you couldn't shake. That wasn't depression taking root. That was a mantle settling onto shoulders that weren't yet used to its weight. You were being fitted for something, and fittings are never comfortable. They press, they pull, they reveal every place where you are not yet shaped for what is coming. Think about a bridge. A great bridge groans under weight. Engineers will tell you that sound isn't the bridge failing. That sound is the bridge working. The structure is doing exactly what it was built to do, bearing something massive, so that what needs to cross over can cross over safely. You were that bridge, chosen one. Proverbs 24:10 says, "If you falter in times of trouble, how small is your strength." But you didn't falter. You bent. You trembled. You wept in private, but you did not fall. And there is a universe of difference between bending and breaking. Now here's the truth that should shake something loose inside you right now. The pressure always increases at thresholds, right before birth, right before breakthrough, right before a new identity replaces the old one, right before heaven places iron into the spine of a soul it has chosen to carry great weight. The pressure rises, not to destroy, to prove, because you don't put a mantle on someone you're not sure about. You test the structure first. You increase the load. You watch what happens under maximum pressure. And only when the foundation you release what was always meant to rest upon it. You held, chosen one. You held when the betrayal came from someone close. You held when the silence from heaven stretched longer than you thought you could endure. You held when your own emotions screamed at you to react, to speak, to defend, to collapse. You held when being strong felt like the cruelest assignment God ever gave you, and heaven watched every single second of it. I felt the weight. If that has been your life, type those words right now, because you are not alone in this. There are thousands of people watching this message who carried the exact same invisible burden, and every single one of them needs to know what I'm about to tell you. The weight was not there to crush you. It was there to prove you could carry what is coming. Read that again. Let it settle into your bones. Let it reframe every sleepless night, every moment of unexplained exhaustion, every tear you wiped away before anyone could see it. That was not suffering without purpose. That was preparation with precision. God does not waste weight. He does not allow pressure without intention. He does not stretch a soul beyond its measure without already knowing what that soul will look like on the other side of the stretching. Isaiah 9:4 declares that God breaks the yoke of their burden and the bar across their shoulders. The yoke was real. The burden was real. But God's response to it was already written. And once heaven saw you could carry it, the response was no longer delayed, because what was being transferred to you in that pressure, that is exactly where this message turns. Let me ask you something that nobody else is going to ask you today. In the last few weeks, have you noticed something quietly different inside you? Not a miracle, not a dramatic sign, nothing loud, nothing you could easily explain to somebody else, but something shifted. Maybe you stopped losing sleep over the person who wronged you. Maybe a situation that used to consume your thoughts just lost its grip. Maybe you woke up one morning and realized you no longer needed to prove yourself to people who were never going to understand you anyway. You didn't manufacture that. You didn't work for it. It just arrived. Chosen one. That was not coincidence. That was heaven moving first. Because here is what most people have never been taught, and what the enemy absolutely does not want you to understand. When God responds to your obedience, He never starts with your circumstances. He starts with your atmosphere. He starts with something no human eye can measure and no human court can contest. He starts inside the unseen. Daniel prayed, and the answer was released from heaven the same hour he knelt down. But it took 21 days to arrive on earth. 21 days of silence. 21 days where Daniel had no idea that an angel was already in motion, already cutting through resistance, already carrying the response that had been sealed in heaven the moment Daniel opened his mouth in faith. The answer existed before Daniel saw it, and your answer existed before you recognized it. Elijah stood on that mountain, bone dry, surrounded by a land that had not seen rain in 3 years, and he told his servant, "Go look toward the sea." The servant came back. Nothing. "Go again." Nothing. 7 times Elijah sent him. 7 times the sky looked empty. But Elijah had already heard something, not with his ears, with his spirit. He heard the sound of an abundance of rain before a single cloud appeared. The rain was already in motion before the sky agreed. Chosen one, this is your moment on that mountain. The sound has already been released. You just haven't seen the clouds yet. And then there is the morning of resurrection. The stone was not moved so Jesus could get out. Jesus was already risen. The stone was moved so the disciples could look in. Heaven had already acted. The world just hadn't caught up yet. That is the pattern. Heaven moves first, earth follows. So let me tell you what heaven's response actually looks like in a human life, because this is where people miss it completely. It does not always look like a phone call with good news. It does not always look like a check in the mail or a door swinging wide open. Sometimes the first evidence is this. You stop being angry at the right people for the wrong reasons. You stop rehearsing arguments in your head at 2 in the morning. You stop scrolling back through old conversations trying to find where it went wrong. That exhausting need to revisit, to reopen, to relitigate it, starts to go quiet. And in its place comes something the world cannot give you and cannot take from you. Authority. Not arrogance, not volume, not the need to make sure everyone knows you were right. Authority, the kind that does not need to announce itself, the kind that simply stands, the kind that walks into a room and something in the atmosphere shifts without a single word being spoken. The first evidence of heaven's response is not noise. It is authority. And here is where the dangerous mistake happens. The mistake that can cost you everything you just endured to receive. Most people, when heaven begins to move quietly, mistake quiet movement for no movement. They look at the sky and see no clouds. They look at their circumstances and see no change. And because nothing is loud yet, because nothing is visible yet, they conclude that nothing is happening. And they do something devastating. They go back. They reopen the old wound. They send the message they had already decided not to send. They re-enter the argument they had already walked away from. They pick up the offense they had already put down. And in doing so, they step out of alignment at the exact moment heaven was about to manifest what they had been waiting for. Do not make that mistake. Not now. Not after everything you have already carried. The tide does not announce itself before it shifts. The lock turns behind the door before the door opens. The gavel strikes in a courtroom no human eye can see, and then, only then, do things begin to move on earth. You are standing on the other side of that gavel strike right now. The relationships around you are beginning to realign. The people who were never assigned to your next season are beginning to create distance on their own, and you did not have to force it. The opportunities that could not find you while you were tangled in the wrong battles are beginning to locate you now that you are free. Heaven answered before earth noticed. Don't leave this message halfway through, because the next part reveals the one thing you must not do after heaven has responded, and most chosen ones get this wrong at the very moment their breakthrough arrives. So now the question becomes, if heaven has already responded, how should a chosen one respond back? Chosen one, stay right here with me, because what I am about to tell you could be the difference between walking into everything God just prepared for you or walking back into the very cycle you just escaped. You passed the trial, heaven responded. The shift is real, but there is a danger that nobody warns you about. A holy danger, a quiet trap that springs open right after breakthrough, not before it. And it has destroyed more destinies than any storm ever could. It is the danger of responding too early. After all that silence, after all that waiting, after all that restraint, something in you is going to want to move, fast, loud, and justified. You are going to want to talk. You are going to want to explain yourself to the people who misjudged you. You are going to want to announce what God did, defend what you endured, reopen every argument you gracefully walked away from, and finally, make people understand what you carried in secret. And chosen one, I need you to hear this with everything inside you. That urge is not your freedom. That is your flesh trying to hijack your harvest. Proverbs 17:28 says it plainly. Even a fool is counted wise when he holds his peace. But the deeper truth is, even a wise person becomes a fool the moment they speak before God says speak. Think about a pilot lifting off the runway. The hardest moment is not the flight, it is the first 60 seconds of ascent. Because every instinct in the human body screams to yank the controls, to overcorrect, to react to every tremor and vibration. But a seasoned pilot knows you hold steady, you trust the instruments. You do not panic the plane into a crash right after leaving the ground. You just got off the ground, chosen one. Do not yank the controls now, because here is what nobody tells you about the season. Right after heaven moves, the enemy does not retreat, he recalibrates. He studies what just happened. He watches where you are vulnerable. And then he sends one final provocation. Not a massive attack. Something small. Something personal. Something that feels like it deserves a response. One conversation that reopens an old wound. One person who says exactly the wrong thing at exactly the wrong time. One moment of disrespect that feels so unnecessary, so out of place, that everything inside you rises up and says, enough. And if you react in that moment, you will not lose your salvation, but you will delay your elevation. Because Ecclesiastes 3:7 does not just say there is a time to speak, it says there is a time to be silent, and the time to be silent does not end the moment blessing begins. It ends when God tells you it ends. Think about a wound that has just been stitched closed. The healing is real, the doctor did the work. But if you tear those stitches open with your own hands, trying to check if it is really healing, trying to show someone the scar, trying to prove how deep it was, you do not speed up the recovery. You restart the bleeding. Some of you have been doing exactly that. Not because you are weak, because you waited so long, and the relief is so overwhelming that stillness feels like stagnation all over again. But chosen one, peace is not permission to become careless. Peace is preparation for the next level of precision. After waiting so long, it is tempting to grab the wheel. After being silent so long, it is tempting to finally say everything. After being misjudged for so long, it is tempting to force people to see what they refuse to see. But ask yourself this, and answer it honestly. Has chasing that validation ever actually satisfied you? Has explaining yourself to people who were not ready to receive it ever brought you real peace? Or did it only cost you energy you could not afford to spend? The next phase of your life is not about proving you were right. It is about learning what heaven is entrusting to you now. And what heaven is entrusting to you now is too significant, too sacred, too weighty to be dragged into old conversations. A seed does not crack open underground and then announce itself before it breaks the surface. It finishes becoming what it was designed to be in the dark, in the quiet, in the unseen, and then it emerges with undeniable evidence. You are that seed. You are days away from the surface. Do not dig yourself back up, because the most powerful truth I can give you in this moment is this. Do not interrupt with your mouth what heaven has started with its hand. Write that down. Put it somewhere. You will see it every morning. Because the enemy is going to come for you with a conversation, a comment, a memory, an old argument dressed up as a new opportunity, and you need that line already living inside you when he does. If you are still here with me right now, it means this word landed exactly where it was supposed to. Subscribe and write this down somewhere that matters to you. I will not break posture before promise, because the posture that carried you through the trial is the same posture that will carry you into what comes next. And what heaven is handing you now is greater than relief. It is greater than vindication. It is greater than anything you tried to manufacture with your own words during the waiting. What heaven is handing you now is authority. And authority changes everything. Chosen one, listen carefully, because what I am about to tell you is not a comfort speech. This is not a gentle pat on the shoulder. This is a declaration over your life from the throne room of God himself. Heaven has responded, and the response is not small. You spent years doing the right thing when the wrong thing would have been easier. You spent seasons in silence when your voice could have changed the room. You endured misunderstanding, carried invisible weight, and kept moving forward when everything around you said stop. And now, heaven is releasing something over your life that cannot be earned. It can only be trusted to those who have been proven. Not blessed, not comforted, trusted. There is a difference. And that difference changes everything about how you walk from this moment forward. Heaven is releasing inner authority into your spirit right now. Not confidence that comes from applause, not boldness that depends on who is watching. The kind of authority that walks into a room and shifts the atmosphere without saying a single word. The kind that only comes after decades of choosing obedience over reputation. Heaven is releasing clarity. That fog you have been living, inside the confusion about direction, about purpose, about whether any of it still matters, that fog is lifting. Not because your circumstances have changed yet, but because your spirit has been recalibrated. You will begin to see things you could not see before. You will discern what is aligned and what is not. You will know which doors to walk through and which ones to leave closed. Heaven is releasing emotional detachment from old cycles. The people who wounded you, the situations that replayed in your mind at 2 a.m, the versions of yourself that kept apologizing for existing. Those chains are breaking right now, not with drama, not with confrontation, with release. Quiet, permanent, dignified release. Heaven is releasing peace that no longer needs to be understood by anyone else. The kind of peace the Apostle Paul described from inside a prison cell, peace that passes all understanding. You will stop needing people to comprehend what you carry. You will stop explaining your process to those who were never assigned to your journey. And heaven is releasing new assignments. Not old assignments repackaged, new ones that require exactly the kind of person you have become through everything you have survived. Now I need to speak directly to you, especially if you are in your later years, and the enemy has been whispering that your time has passed, that you are too old, too tired, too far from your prime, that God uses the young and the loud and the visible. That is a lie straight from the pit. Caleb was 85 years old when he stood before Joshua and said, "Give me this mountain." Not a rocking chair, not retirement, a mountain. He said the Lord had kept him strong for this exact moment. 85 years of endurance, and he was still asking for the hardest assignment available. Anna served in the temple for decades, widowed, quiet, forgotten by the world. And when the moment came, she was the one standing in the right place at the right time to recognize the Savior of mankind. Her decades of faithfulness were not wasted years. They were preparation years. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness being stripped of everything he thought made him qualified. And then God called him. Not despite those hidden years, because of them. This is not the end of your usefulness, chosen one. This is late life authority. This is seasoned oil, and oil only comes through crushing. A tree does not bear its heaviest fruit in its first decade. The roots have to go deep enough to hold the weight of what grows above. You have spent years pushing roots down through drought, through rocky soil, through seasons where nothing visible was happening. And now the fruit is coming, and it will be weightier than anything you carried before. You are not a candle burning down to nothing. You are a key that has been forged in fire, shaped through pressure, refined through silence, and you are finally standing at the lock you were made to open. Heaven did not preserve you this long just to comfort you. Heaven preserved you to trust you. Read that again. Let it land in the deepest part of your chest. God does not keep someone alive through what you have survived just to give them a quiet ending. He keeps them alive because the assignment they were built for requires everything they became in the process of surviving. Your gray hair is not a sign of decline, it is a crown of wisdom. Proverbs 16:31 says it plainly, "Gray hair is a crown of glory, it is gained in a righteous life." Your scars are not evidence of failure, they are credentials. Your decades are not liabilities, they are your most powerful qualification. If you believe God still uses people in their later years with force, with wisdom, with authority, type right now in the comments, "My season is not over," because it is not even close. And trust requires understanding why the delay was necessary. Can I ask you something honest? How many years did you pray for this? How many nights did you go to bed carrying the same weight you woke up with? How many times did you watch someone else move forward while you stayed in the same place? Doing the right thing, living clean, believing God, and still nothing moved. If you have been waiting for years, maybe decades, this section is for you. Because the question you never asked out loud, the one that lived in the back of your throat every single Sunday morning, was this: why is it taking so long? And nobody gave you a real answer. They gave you a scripture, they gave you a smile, they gave you just keep trusting, but they never explained the why behind the wait. So let me tell you the truth that most people are not ready to hear. The delay was not punishing you, the delay was forming you. There is a difference between slow-cooked steel and microwaved faith. Microwaved faith feels warm fast, but it does not hold under pressure. Slow-cooked steel gets hammered, heated, shaped, cooled, and hammered again. Nobody applauds that process. Nobody celebrates the forge, but when it is finished, nothing can break it. That was you. In the forge. All those years. Isaiah 48:10 says it plainly, "I have refined you, but not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction." Not a comfortable furnace, not a short furnace, the furnace of affliction. God chose that word deliberately. He was not talking about a mild inconvenience. He was talking about the kind of fire that burns away everything that does not belong on your life. And here is what the fire was burning. It was burning the part of you that needed human approval to feel secure. It was dismantling the ego that would have mishandled vindication. It was breaking reaction patterns that would have sabotaged your promotion. It was maturing your discernment so you could recognize the difference between an open door and a trap dressed like an opportunity. It was growing roots where nobody applauds. You know what a root looks like. It goes down into darkness. It pushes through resistance. It does not need sunlight to keep growing because it is not growing for applause. It is growing for anchoring. And the deeper those roots go, the taller the tree can stand without falling. That was the delay. That was God growing your roots deep enough to hold what is coming. Because here is the brutal truth, and I need you to sit with this. If heaven had responded earlier, you would not have survived the answer. Think about that. If the door had opened 3 years ago, before the furnace did its full work, you would have walked through it with wounds still bleeding. You would have spoken too soon. You would have gloried in vindication when you should have walked in wisdom. You would have confused the comfort of being right with the calling of being trusted. You were not ready. And God loved you too much to give you something you would have broken. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, He makes everything beautiful in its time, not in your time, not in the time that felt most convenient, in His time, because beauty that lasts is never rushed. A cathedral takes longer to build than a storage shed because it is meant to stand for generations. You were never a storage shed. You were always a cathedral. And cathedrals take time. Now I need to press something deeper, because this is where most people stop short of the full revelation. You have been asking why the delay lasted this long, but you have been asking the wrong question. The real question is not, why did it take so long? The real question is, what would have been lost if it had come sooner? Your compassion would not have deepened the way it did. You would not know how to sit with someone in pain, because you would not have lived there long enough yourself. Your discernment would not be sharp enough to recognize who is genuinely for you. Your endurance would not have the kind of roots that cannot be pulled out by one hard season. Everything, the delay built in you, every single thing is now part of the equipment heaven is trusting you to carry. And now, here is the deepest part of all. The trial was not only about you, it was about what your victory would do for those connected to your life. Your children are watching. Your grandchildren are watching. The people around you who are still in the fire, they are watching. And when they see you come through this not bitter, not broken, not hardened, they will believe that God can do the same for them. Your endurance is somebody else's evidence. Your survival is somebody else's sermon. Your completed trial is going to open a door in someone else's spirit that nothing else could open. The delay did not postpone the response. The delay prepared you to survive it. Stay to the end, because the final 2 sections reveal exactly who is affected by your completed trial and what you must do next. Because this victory was never going to stop with you. Chosen one, I need you to stop for a moment and truly hear what I am about to say. Because what you just walked through was never only about you. You thought you were fighting a private battle. You thought the tears you cried alone at 2 in the morning were just yours. You thought the silence you kept, the words you swallowed, the dignity you preserved when nobody was watching, you thought that was just personal endurance. But heaven sees differently. Proverbs 20:7 says it plainly. The righteous who walks in integrity, blessed are his children after him. Not maybe, not possibly, after him. Your obedience has a direction. It moves forward. It travels down bloodlines. It enters rooms you will never step foot in. And that changes everything about how you see what you just survived. Think about your family for a moment. Think about the chaos that ran through your household for years, the patterns that repeated, the anger that got inherited, the silence that became a weapon, the wounds that were handed down like heirlooms nobody wanted but everybody carried. Somebody had to be the one to stop it. And chosen one, that somebody was you. You were a dam, standing between what came before you and what comes after you. And while you were holding back that flood with your bare hands, Nobody threw you a parade. Nobody gave you a plaque. Nobody even noticed the weight you were carrying, because the weight was invisible. But the flood was real, and you held it. Do you understand what that means for your children, for your grandchildren, for the generations that will carry your name into a future you may never see? They will walk into rooms with less chaos in their bones because you absorbed it. They will make decisions with clearer minds because you interrupted the confusion. They will love their families better because you modeled restraint when everything in you wanted to explode. Galatians 6-9 says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." You did not give up, and the harvest is not just yours, the harvest is generational. Now, I want to speak directly to the older men and women hearing this right now. Because you have carried things that nobody in your family ever thanked you for. You stood in the gap for children who misunderstood you. You absorbed pain from spouses, siblings, and situations that would have broken someone with less faith. You preserved the dignity of your home when the walls were full of misunderstanding. You were a gatekeeper standing through the night, and the night was long, and nobody clapped. But heaven recorded every single hour. Every night you chose prayer over bitterness, heaven recorded it. Every morning you got up and kept going when quitting felt like mercy, heaven recorded it. Every time you held your tongue when the truth could have been weaponized, heaven recorded it. And now that record is being written into your legacy. Because here is the spiritual reality that most people never grasp. When a chosen one breaks an old cycle, the spiritual atmosphere of an entire family shifts. Inherited chaos loses its grip. Old patterns lose their power. The door that used to swing open for destruction starts to close. And it closes because one faithful person stood long enough to change the spiritual climate. That person was you. You thought you were just surviving a season. Heaven saw you rewriting a legacy. Romans 8:18 says, "The sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is going to be revealed." And chosen one, that glory is not just personal. That glory ripples. It multiplies. It touches the faces of people who are not even born yet. Your grandchildren's children will carry something different in their spirits because you endured, because you did not retaliate, because you did not collapse, because you stood as a gate between the darkness that came before and the light that is coming after. A bloodline turns at one faithful decision, just one, and you made it. Now here is the question that should be pressing on your spirit right now. If your endurance had that much power, if your silence carried that much weight, what does it mean that the trial is now complete? It means the gate has been established. It means the flood has been stopped. It means the pattern has been broken at the root. And it means that everything heaven has been holding in response to your obedience is now being released, not just into your life, but into the lives of everyone connected to you. If you believe your endurance was bigger than your own story, write this in the comments right now. It stops with me. Because that declaration is not just words. It is a spiritual marker. It is you planting a flag in the ground and saying to everything that tried to destroy your family line, not one step further, not one more generation. It stops here. It stops with me. And heaven is waiting to honor that declaration with everything it has already prepared. So if heaven has responded and the trial is complete, what does the chosen one do now? Because the answer to that question is not what most people expect, and it will determine whether you step fully into what has been released or whether you accidentally walk away from it. Now comes the part nobody teaches you. Everyone talks about surviving the trial. Nobody talks about what to do the morning after it ends. Nobody prepares you for the strange silence that follows, not the heavy silence of waiting, but the unfamiliar silence of arrival. And if you are not careful, that silence will confuse you. You will mistake peace for emptiness. You will mistake stillness for stagnation. You will look around at your life and think, nothing has changed, when in reality, everything already has. So let me speak directly to you right now. You made it through. But making it through is not the same as knowing how to walk through what comes next. Rest, but do not go numb. Your body is exhausted. Your spirit has been carrying weight that most people will never understand. And God is not asking you to push through that exhaustion with religious performance. Psalm 23 does not say, He drives you beside still waters. It says, He leads you, gently, because He knows what the trial cost you. But rest is not retreat. Rest is not disappearing into comfort until you forget your assignment. The soldier who comes home from battle still needs to know how to carry peace without losing his readiness. You rest so you can rise, not so you can hide. Stay quiet, but do not shrink. The discipline of silence that carried you through the trial is still your greatest asset right now. But there is a difference between holy silence and fearful smallness. One is strength. The other is self-protection disguised as humility. Proverbs 17:27 says, A man of knowledge uses words with restraint, not no words. Restrained words, chosen words, weighted words. You are not called to disappear. You are called to speak only what is necessary, and when you do speak, let it carry everything the silence taught you. Forgive, but do not re-enter old chaos. This is where people stumble. They confuse forgiveness with restoration. They think forgiving someone means reopening the door that God closed for their protection. Forgiveness is not reconciliation with dysfunction. Forgiveness is your freedom, not their permission to return. You can release the debt without reinstating the relationship. You can wish someone well from a distance. A healed bone becomes strongest at the exact place it broke, but only if it is allowed to set properly. Do not let sentiment pull you back into the fracture before the healing is complete. Listen, but do not become passive. God is speaking in this season, but He is not speaking in the loud, dramatic ways you might expect after such an intense trial. He is speaking in nudges, in unexpected moments of clarity, in the quiet knowing that rises in your chest before your mind can explain it. John 10:27. My sheep hear my voice, not shout, voice. Train your ear to the quiet frequency of divine instruction. But hearing without moving is just spiritual procrastination. When He speaks, move, even if the step is small, even if nobody else sees it yet. Receive peace, but do not worship comfort. Peace is a gift, but comfort can become a cage. Some chosen ones survive the fire and then spend the rest of their lives making sure they never feel heat again. They organize their entire existence around avoiding discomfort, and slowly, without realizing it, they trade their assignment for safety. Philippians 4:7 promises a peace that surpasses understanding, not a life that surpasses challenge. The peace is the companion for the journey, not the replacement for it. Receive it fully, but do not let it make you soft when the next obedience requires courage. Let God vindicate, but do not despise wisdom. You do not need to expose what happened to you. You do not need to correct every false narrative. God sees every detail. And Romans 12:19 is not a suggestion. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. When God vindicates, He does not just correct circumstances. He deals with roots. He reaches places no human confrontation ever could. But letting God vindicate does not mean being naive. Wisdom still closes doors. Wisdom still recognizes patterns. Wisdom still says, I have learned, and I will not repeat what the trial already buried. Honor what was learned, but do not live in the wound. The trial gave you wisdom that cannot be bought, borrowed, or taught in a classroom. It gave you discernment forged in fire. It gave you compassion that only comes from having been broken and rebuilt. That is sacred. Honor it. But there is a difference between carrying wisdom and camping in pain. A river does not fight its banks. It knows its course and it moves. You know your course now. Move. Because here is the truth that must land in your bones today. Your next season cannot be carried by the person you used to be. That version of you, the one who needed their approval, who explained themselves to people who had already made up their minds, who shrunk to fit rooms that were never built for them, that person did not survive the trial. The trial buried them, and you are not going back to dig them up. Make this your declaration before this message ends. I will not return to the version of me that the trial already buried. Say it like you mean it. Because heaven is listening, and your assignment is already moving toward you. So let's finish where heaven finished at the sign. Chosen one, I need you to stop for just one moment, not to look at what changed around you, but to look at what changed inside you. Because here is what most people miss. They spend their whole lives looking for heaven's response in the external. A door that finally opens, a phone call that finally comes, a breakthrough that finally shows up in the natural. And yes, those things are real. Yes, those blessings are coming. But the greatest sign that heaven has already responded is not what shifted around you. It is who you became while you were waiting. Think about it. You used to burn to explain yourself. Every misunderstanding felt like an emergency. Every false accusation felt like a fire you had to put out immediately. You could not rest until people understood your side, until the record was corrected, until someone, anyone, acknowledged what you actually went through. And now, you don't need that anymore. That is not small. That is not ordinary. That is the fingerprint of God on a human soul. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life." You spent years guarding what was on the outside. Now heaven has moved you to guard something deeper. And that shift alone is worth more than any external blessing you are believing for. You no longer need to force the outcome. You no longer tremble before opinions the way you used to. You no longer confuse delay with abandonment. You no longer beg for permission to carry what God already placed inside you. Do you understand what that means? That means the trial worked. That means the furnace did exactly what it was designed to do. And you, chosen one, came out on the other side not as ash, but as gold, refined, unshakable, ready. The gavel has fallen. The night watch is ending. Dawn is already touching the windows of your life, whether you can see it yet or not. Now I need to speak to someone directly, and I need you to hear this with every fiber of who you are. You are not too old. You did not survive 8 decades, or 7, or 6, of hard living, quiet faithfulness, invisible sacrifice, and holy endurance, just to fade away in the final chapter. The enemy wants you to believe your best days are behind you. He wants you to look at your age like a liability. But God looks at your years like oil. There is anointing on what you endured. There is authority in the silence that almost broke you. There is purpose soaked into every single year you thought was wasted. Isaiah 46:4 declares, "Even to your old age I am He, and to gray hairs I will carry you." God did not bring you through the fire to leave you at the door. He brought you through the fire to send you from it. You are not too late. You are not too tired. You are not too far gone. The mantle has not lifted from your shoulders. It has settled. There is a difference between a mantle that sits loose on someone still becoming and a mantle that rests firm on someone who has been proven. Yours has settled. And here is the final truth that I need to land deep in your spirit today. Heaven's response was never only the change you wanted. Heaven's response was the person it forged. The deeper peace you feel in your chest right now, that is the response. The cleaner discernment that keeps you from walking into rooms you used to run into, that is the response. The quieter authority in your voice, the stronger boundaries in your relationships, the steadiness that does not shake when chaos enters the room, that is heaven answering every prayer you prayed in the dark. The trial is complete, the record stands, the witness has been heard, the judge has answered, the old cycle is broken, and you, chosen one, you rise differently now. Not louder, not harder, not more aggressive. You rise with the kind of weight that does not need to announce itself, the kind of presence that changes a room before you speak a single word, the kind of faith that has been through the valley and came back with something the mountain could never have given you. Romans 8:28 does not say some things work together for good. It says all things. Every betrayal, every silence, every misunderstood season, every tear that fell on a floor where nobody else was standing, all of it, working together for good. If this word confirmed what your spirit has been carrying, write in the comments right now, heaven has responded. And before you sleep tonight, I want you to do one thing, pray. Not a long prayer, not a complicated prayer, just thank God. Not only for what He is doing, but for who you became while He was doing it. Because that person, the one who endured, the one who stayed quiet, the one who held the line when everything said let go, that person is the miracle. You are the miracle. And if messages like this feed your soul, strengthen your faith, and remind you that your story is not over, subscribe, because there is more. So much more where this came from. Now receive this final declaration over your life. Peace over your mind, strength over your body, release over your heart, authority over your voice, clarity over every next step, and rest, deep and holy rest, over this night. The trial is complete. And chosen one, you are just getting started.